Okay. We are back now. We're continuing as in the days of Queen Esther. Today is March 12, 2016. All right. Remember I think we were still in Esther 5 maybe. I'll have to go back and look and see where we were at and find out where we will continue. I remember we're still at Esther 4?
Yeah, we
Wow.
read to the last because, remember, Esther told Mordecai.
Yeah, let me find out what. We'll start at the conclusion that we did here. Okay. Okay. We'll start here. Esther 4, verses 15 and 17. Okay. This is when Esther already heard about the decree, right? Mordecai told her about the decree and what was the reaction of Esther? Esther 4, verse 15 to 17. Then Esther bade them return Mordecai this answer. Go gather together all the Jews that are present in Shushan and fast ye for me. So it says, okay, we are going to fast. All right? Fast ye for me. All right. How many days? 3 days and 3 nights. 3 days and 3 nights. I also and my maidens will fast likewise. So you fast, and I will fast with my maidens. So will I go in unto the king, which is not according to the law? And if I perish, I perish. Right away, if I perish, I perish. Where is she now standing? Midnight cry, because there's a doubling right there. So she's standing at the midnight cry. So Mordecai went his way and did according to all that Esther had commanded him. So he says, okay, I am going to go and meet the king, and if I perish, I perish. But first, I am going to, let's all fast for 3 days. Okay, all right. So there's a 3-day fast. Let's see, maybe, where's my cursor? Okay, 3-day fast. I perish, right? It's right there at the midnight cry right there. Okay. And Jewish reckoning, today is the 13th day. It's the 13th day of the first month, right? And I'm going to fast for 3 days, meaning this is the 13th day. It's inclusive reckoning. So do you count the 13th day? Do the Jews count the 13th day as the first day? If it's inclusive reckoning, they actually do. In medicine, we don't do that. Yeah, we
first post-op is
the day after. But Jewish reckoning, no, the first day. So right. So Jesus is going to be risen up on the 3rd day. Friday is the first day. Saturday is the 2nd day. Sunday is the 3rd day. So on the 13th day, let's say, let's fast for 3 days. So when does that fast last until? Yeah, 13th, 14th, and see? So this is the 13th right there, 14th and 15th, okay? This is going to be very important, all right? You think this is not important, but this is very important. So you're going to fast for the 13th and the 14th and the 15th day, all right? Okay, of the first month. So this is the 13th, 14th, and 15th. And if I perish, I perish. She said that, okay?
Which verse is that, the 13th day?
Oh, yeah, that was way before, we had it before.
Okay.
Right, that was before. We already established that before. Okay. Conflict and courage. So even though Esther had to take on a very important decision that she had to make. It is something that she had to do. Says we have to fast first. Unless God should work mightily in our behalf, our own efforts will be unavailing. Esther took time for communion with God, the source of her strength. Right? Okay. Now we continue. Now we go to Esther 5, verse 1 and 2. Now it came to pass on the third day. So what day is this? The third day, which is the 15th day of the first month, right? Because you start on the 13th, which is the first, 14th. So on the third day, which is the 15th day, right? Esther put on her royal apparel. Okay, what does royal apparel mean? Robe of righteousness. And stood on the inner court. Why is it in the inner court? Because she's a Levite right now. Okay, all right. Over against the king's house, all right? And the king sat upon his royal throne over against the gate of the house. And it was so, when the king saw Esther, the queen, standing in the court, she obtained favor in his sight. And the king held out to Esther the golden scepter that was in his hand. So Esther drew near and touched the top of the scepter. So Esther touched the scepter on the third day. Okay, this is very important because it's prophetically significant. All right, and you'll know exactly. On the third day, which is the 15th day of the first month, Esther touched the scepter. In other words, touched the king, right? Okay, there you go. I have a picture of Esther touching the scepter, all right? Hosea 6, verse 1 to 3. Come and let us return unto the Lord, for he has torn and he will heal us. He has smitten and he will bind us up. Oh, there's going to be a binding time. After 2 days, he will revive us, see? First and second day. In the third day, he will raise us up. Oh, this is the same thing. On the third day, he will raise us up, and we shall live in his sight. Then shall we know, if we follow on to know the Lord. His going forth is prepared as the morning, and he shall come unto us as the rain, as the latter and former rain. So when you are touched on the third day, you will stand up and receive the latter and the former rain. Yeah, very, very significant. Being touched on the third day, you will receive the latter and the former rain. Okay. What is the royal apparel? What is the royal apparel? Robe of righteousness. For God has clothed me with the garments of salvation. He has covered me with the robe of righteousness. As a bridegroom decketh himself with ornaments, as the bride adorneth herself with her jewels. For as the earth bringeth forth her bud, as the garden causeth the things that are sown to spring forth, right? This is the budding forth. It's at the time of the outpouring of the Holy Spirit, right? The former and the latter rain, right? So the Lord will cause righteousness to praise to spring forth before all the nations. Then first you have to receive the robe of righteousness, then you will receive a perfection of character, and then afterwards you will be lifted up as an ensign to the nations, to the world, right? Okay. Zechariah 3. Now Joshua was clothed in filthy garments and stood before the angel, and he answered and spoke unto those that stood before him, saying, Take away the filthy garments from him. And unto him he said, Behold, I have caused thine iniquity to pass. What happens when your iniquity have passed? Yeah, you're perfect, right? You're perfect already. And I will clothe thee with a change of raiment. So you have to confess your sins. You have no more sins. Then you will be clothed with a change of raiment, right? Right. Okay. So the raiment is the royal apparel, which is the robe of righteousness, having a perfect character so that you are being prepared to be lifted up as an ensign to the world. Okay, the Acts of Apostles. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men. Who are these? Revelation 14. These are talking about 144. Oh, Revelation 14:4.
Wow.
The vision of the prophet pictures them as standing on Mount Zion, girt for holy service, clothed in white linen, which is the righteousness of the saints. Right? But all who follow the Lamb must have first followed him on earth. Right? And these are the 144,000, which were redeemed from the earth. In their mouth was found no guile, for they were without fault before the throne of God. So the priests and Levites are standing. They're girt with the robe of righteousness and is being prepared to be the 144,000. That's the priests and the Levites. Right? Okay. What's the golden scepter? In a vision given me in Battle Creek, I was shown this earth dark and gloomy. Said the angel, look carefully. Then I was shown the people upon the earth. Some were surrounded with angels of God, others were in total darkness, surrounded by evil angels. I saw an arm reach down from heaven, holding a golden scepter. Wow. On top of the crown were crowns studded with diamonds. Oh, so there's a crown. On the scepter was crown studded with diamonds. Every diamond emitted light, bright, clear, and beautiful. Inscribed upon the crown were these words, all who win me are happy and shall have everlasting life. Below this crown was another scepter upon which was placed a crown, in the center of which were jewels, gold, silver, which reflected some light. The inscription upon the crown was earthly treasure, riches is power. All who win me have honor and fame. Wow. So you have the right to choose between the golden scepter, and there's also another, right? There's another crown, which is earthly treasure. So it's heavenly treasure. The treasure of heaven. The golden scepter. What is that? And that's purification, right? That's the purification. But there's always a copycat image, like earthly treasures, right? People will rather have earthly treasures than being purified, because when you're purified, you have to be persecuted also, right?
That must be the truth.
Yeah. So what is Esther being touched on the third day? Isaiah 6. Isaiah 6 is very important here. Isaiah 6, verse 6 to 8. Then flew one of the seraphims unto me, having a live coal in his hand. He had taken with the tongs from off the altar, and he had laid it upon my mouth, and so, lo, this hath touched thy lips, right? Touch thy lips. And thine iniquity is taken away, and thy sins purged, right? So you're purified when you are touched, right? See, that's purification, right? Being touching the scepter is purification. So it's the same thing as being touched with the live coal, all right? But the thing about it is that when you're touched with the live coal, what is your response to the call? The call is, whom shall I send? And your response is, send me, right? To be sent. Sent to do what? To be a messenger, to be lifted up, to be shown to the world. First, sent where though? First, you are sent to the rebellious house of Israel, right? That's the thing. So Isaiah 6, when you read Isaiah 6, it says, you are first sent to the rebellious house of Israel first. Okay. The live coal is symbolical of purification. See, there you go. It's purification. See, when it touched thy lips, thine iniquity is taken away, and thy sin purged. It's purification. If it touches the lips, no impure word will fall from them. The live coal also symbolizes the potency of the efforts of the servants of the Lord. So their efforts will be very potent because they will have received the power from the Holy Spirit being poured out. Right? They will receive the latter and the former rain. God hates all coldness, all commonness, all cheap efforts. Those who labor acceptably in his cause must be men who pray fervently and whose works are wrought in God. They will never have cause to be ashamed of their record. All right. Okay. So it's purification, and you will have a powerful message, and you have to take it to the house of Israel. All right. Now, we have to go now to Daniel, because Daniel is also touched, and it's in Revelation 10. Revelation 10 is the story of Daniel when he was touched, when he had the Mara vision, all right? Because in Daniel 8, he has the Chalzon vision and also the Mare vision. And he was given explanation of the Mare vision in Daniel 9. So he saw the appearance of God. Mare is the appearance of God. And then now he has the Mara vision, because now he is, right, he reflects the character of Christ. Because when he received the Mare vision, now he goes to the Mara, which is the reflection of Christ's character, right? And I, Daniel, alone saw the Mara vision. This is the Mara vision. For the men that were with me saw not the vision. Okay, so there's going to be men that don't see the vision, with it the Mara vision, and they are going to, there's a great quaking fell upon them, so they fled to hide. They're going to flee and hide, right? So this represents, Daniel represents the wise virgins, and the men that did not see the Mara vision, that flee and hide, are the foolish virgins. Because the foolish virgins are first bound, right? They're bound first. And then the wise are bound. Foolish are bound first, and then the wise are bound. So this is the story of what happened to Daniel. There's going to be men that flee and hide. Therefore I was left alone and saw this great vision, Mara, and there remained no strength. And then I became so weak, and my comeliness was turned me into corruption, and I retained no strength. I became so weak after I saw the Mara vision. Why is that? Why? So he sees Jesus, the appearance of Jesus, and then he sees the Mara vision, and it makes him very, very weak. All right? Okay. Now we continue verse 9 to 11. Yet heard I the voice of his words, and when I heard the voice of his words, then was I in a deep sleep on my face, and my face toward the ground, and behold, a hand touched me. Okay, this is the first time he's touched. A hand touched me, which set me upon my knees and upon the palms of my hand. So now he was on the ground, and now he's on his knees and on the palms of his hands. So he's on his knees and his hands, so he's bowing. And he said unto me, O Daniel, a man greatly beloved, understand the words. Okay, understand is bin. And bin is actually means discern, right? It's not just understand, but discern. You have to discern between the profane and the holy. Discern between the earthly and the worldly. Discern the word that I speak unto thee, and stand upright. Now it says, okay, now stand. Before you were on the ground, now stand. And when he had spoken to this word unto me, I stood up trembling. So now he's standing up, right? So the first time he's touched, He has a power now to stand up now. Okay. Then said he unto me, Fear not, Daniel, from the first day that thou didst set thine heart to understand, when you wanted to understand, which is been, to have discernment, to chasten thyself before thy gods, thy words were heard, and I come for thy words. But the prince of kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. 21 days I had to go fight the kingdom of Persia. Kingdom of Persia is what? A two-horned beast. Right? A two-horned power. Medo-Persia, right?
But it just says Persia now.
Right.
But it says kingdom.
Yeah. So I had to fight. This is the kingdom of Persia, right? This is actually the. But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me and remained there with the kings of Persia, right? So he had to fight the kings of Persia. This is talking about Medo-Persia, right? Now I come to make thee understand. Now I come to make thee understand, see? What shall befall thy people in the latter days? For yet the vision, this is not Mara now, Chao-zone is for many days. Now you are going to understand the Chao-zone vision, because I'm fighting Medo-Persia. So this is talking about our time, because our time we are going to have a Mara vision, and we are going to understand who? The kingdom of Persia is who now? It's now the United States, right? Because he said now Gabriel is actually fighting against the U.S. Wow. The sixth kingdom, right? But you are now going to understand the Chao-zone vision of what is going to happen. And when he had spoken such words unto me, I set my face toward the ground, and he became dumb. And I became dumb. Wow, and I can't speak. And behold, one like the multitude of Son of Man touched me. Oh, here's you go, the second touch. It touched my lips and opened my mouth, and spake and said unto him that stood before me, O my Lord, by the vision, by the Mara vision, my sorrows are turned upon me, and I have retained no strength. When I saw the Mara vision, I have no more strength. But then you touch me, you are strengthened me. So when I'm being purified, I'm being strengthened. For how can the servant of this my Lord talk with this my Lord? For as for me, straightway there remained no strength in me, neither is there any breath left in me. When there's no breath left in me, what happens? I'm dead. So when I see the Mara vision, I become dead. I have no strength. Okay? But then I'm given the understanding of the Chao-zone vision. All right? So this is his second touch. We're going through this very carefully, because this is just not any old story. This is very important. This is extremely important. And verse 18 to 21. Then there came again and touched me, one like the appearance of man, and he strengthened me. So this is the third touch, right?
Oh,
Daniel is touched 3 times.
wow.
All right? Esther was touched on the third day. It's the same thing. It's actually the same thing. There's a touch and there's a 3. All right? It's the same thing. And said, O man, greatly beloved, fear not, peace be unto thee. Be strong, yea, be strong. Be strong, be strong. What's that? That's at the midnight cry. All right? And when he had spoken unto me, I was strengthened. Let my Lord speak, for thou hast strengthened me. Then said he, Knowest thou wherefore I come unto thee? Now will I return to fight with the prince of Persia. All right? I'm fighting against the United States. And when I'm gone forth, lo, the prince of Grecia will come. Who's that? The prince of the world. Who's Greece? The United Nations will come. But I will show thee, see, I will show thee, you are going to be able to see, which is noted in the scripture of truth, that there is none that holdeth with me these things but Michael your prince. Well, you will be able to see Michael the prince. Okay, all right. So this is our line right here. Remember, be strong, be strong. He's touched in this, at this midnight cry. All right? So that's Daniel. And Daniel is touched 3 times. All right? But he's touched 3 times in this time period right here, just before when, oh no, this is at the midnight cry. He's touched at the midnight cry. Remember, he's touched at the midnight cry. But what is he given discernment to do? He's going to be able to see the Chalzon vision. The Chalzon vision of Media Persia is going to, it's going to be attacked by Grecia. So that's Media Persia, right? The ram with the 2 horns is going to be attacked by Grecia. He's going to understand what is happening at the Sunday law. When America is going to fall and United Nations is going to rise, right? When he is touched 3 times, he's going to have no strength, as if he was dead, but he's going to be strengthened. And he's have understanding of prophecy, of what's going to happen at the Sunday law, right? Okay. All right. So there's 3 right here. Remember, Esther was touched on the 3rd day. It was touched on the 3rd day and said that's the scepter, right? Esther was touched. There's a 3 right here. There's a 3 right here. Okay? Now look at this. This is the binding time. This is the hiding time for who? 5 months. Elizabeth. Right? This is the hiding time for Elizabeth. All right? That also corresponds to this is 5 months, is 150 days, right? 150 years of the first woe. That ends at 1449, when the four sultans start attacking the Byzantine Empire. And for 4 years, they're attacking Constantinople until the walls of Constantinople fell on 1453, for 4 years, right? That's the second woe. So this is 1449, this is 1453. There's a 4. 4 years, 4 sultans, right at this point, okay? This is very important. There's a 3 and there's also a 4, right, in this time, okay? And the end here, it goes all the way until 1840. 1840 is when Josiah Litch predicted. What did he predict? Ottoman Empire is going to fall, right? This is the end of the second woe. The end typifies typifies the beginning, right? This is the 4 years between 1840 to 1844. Typifies the beginning of the second woe, of the 4 years at the beginning of the second woe. All right. So Josiah Litch is going to predict right here, and we are going to make a prediction also, because we are going to understand the Chalzon vision, right? Just like Daniel. So remember, there's going to be a 4 right at this time, right? There's a 3 and there's a 4. Okay, it's going to make more sense later on. Okay. All right. Right now it may be a little blurry. All right, but it's going to. Your eyes are going to be open. You will have a clearer vision later. All right. Okay. Right now it's still blurry. Okay. All right. All right. This is what Ellen White says about the Mara vision. What is the reaction of those who actually have been touched or received the purification or have been see the glory of God? All right. The true holiness and humility are inseparable. Holiness and humility. You're going to be weak. You're going to be humbled. You're going to be fall as if you're dead, okay? Holiness and humility is inseparable, right? The nearer the soul comes to God, the more completely it is humbled and subdued. When Job heard the voice of the Lord out of the whirlwind, he exclaimed, I abhor myself and repent in the dust and ashes. It was when Isaiah saw the glory of the Lord and heard the cherubim crying, right? Holy, holy, holy. This is Isaiah 6. It's the Lord of hosts that he cried out, woe is me, for I am undone, right? Holiness and humility is inseparable. Daniel, when visited by the holy messenger, says, remember, he touched 3 times, my comeliness was turned in me to corruption. Paul, after he was caught up into the third heaven and heard these things that was not lawful for men to utter, speaks of himself as less than the least of all the saints. It was the beloved John that leaned on Jesus' breast and beheld his glory, who fell as one dead before the angel. The more closely and continuously behold our Savior, the less we shall see to approve in ourselves. So when you see the glory of God, you are going to be humbled in the dust, right? This is the reaction. The correct response of what is going to happen to you is you're going to be humbled, all right? It's very, very important, right?
But if you have an attitude of holier than thou,
You're not going to be humbled,
you're not,
Well, when
you don't have that
right?
perfection level.
Right, yeah. You're going to be humbled.
you really cannot go to that point of time if you haven't humbled yourself.
Yeah. Right. Your reaction is you're going to be humbled. You're going to be as if you're going to die in the dust. Right? Okay. Sermons and talks. You know, just as soon as the heavenly messenger came from heaven and revealed himself to Daniel, he said, my comeliness was turned in me into corruption. He had such a view of the glory of God that he fell as one dead. He could not talk, he could not see. But the angel took him and sat upon his knees, yet he could not look at him. All right? This is going to be your reaction when you have a perfect character, when you have the Mara vision. You're going to be humbled to the dust. All right? When you see the appearance of Jesus, when you see the glory of God.
It doesn't make sense when we're already out of ourselves, then there's God's Holy Spirit can now work on us.
That's right.
Inside.
Christ living in us.
Yeah. Right. So what is your attitude when you receive this type of message? Are you going to argue with it? Or are you going to be humble to the dust? You're going to realize your responsibility that you have to carry this. This is going to be a big responsibility, and you're going to be humbled. So you're going to watch out because your attitude is going to determine your destiny. Very important. Yeah. Selected messages. When the angel was about to unfold to Daniel the intensely interesting prophecies to be recorded for us, right? He's going to the chosen vision. He's going to reveal the chosen vision, right? He says, be strong, be strong. We are to receive the very same glory. See, this is the same thing for us. Ellen White said, basically, what happened to Daniel is going to happen to us. Our line is the same line as Daniel, all right? We are to receive the very same glory that was revealed to Daniel because it is for God's people in these last days. So the same experience, you are going to have to go through the Mara vision, and you are going to have to be humbled, and you are going to be strengthened, and you will have the prophetic knowledge of what the chosen vision is, right? You're going to know what's going to happen at the Sunday law. You're going to be able to predict Islam, right?
Before Sunday.
Yeah. Okay. All right. This is the wheel within the wheels. All right. Ezekiel. Okay. Let God's workmen study the 6th chapter of Isaiah. All right. And the 1st and the 2nd chapter of Ezekiel. So we know the chapter of Isaiah says it touch with the live coal, right? It's the same thing as Ezekiel wheels within the wheels. Right? It's the wheels within the wheels. To the people, to the prophet, the wheel within a wheel The appearances of living creatures connected with them all seem intricate and unexplainable. It's like a wheel within a wheel, kind of thing like that, okay? But the hand of of infinite wisdom is seen among the wheels, and perfect order is the result of its work. Every wheel works in perfect harmony with every other. Please read carefully the 3rd chapter of Ezekiel. Okay, I'm going to give you the summary of the 3rd chapter of Ezekiel is you have to go to the house of Israel. The same thing. So when you see the wheels within the wheels, it's a complicated thing. But you have to go to the house of Israel. It's the same thing. There you go. All right. So we are going to, I'm just going to summarize it to you. Ezekiel 1 and 2. Ezekiel 1 and 2, there's going to be 4 creatures that have 4 faces. Okay, very important, 4. All right, remember how many? 4 creatures with 4 faces and have 4 wings. And they have wheels. And the color of the wheel is beryl. What is beryl? Green. It's green. All right, it's green. Okay. And their appearance and their work as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. So their appearance and their work, the working of this creature is like in the middle of a wheel. All right? Okay. All right. Now you go to Ezekiel 10. You got to go to Ezekiel 10. Now, it's this. Ezekiel says, well, you know what? Ezekiel 10 is the same thing as those 4. Now he sees 4 cherubs with 4 faces, and there's 4 wheels. Now there's 4 wheels, right? Each cherub, each angel has a wheel. And their appearance and their likeness is if a wheel within a wheel, all right? Their appearance, their work, and their likeness is as if a wheel within a wheel, right? You know, I've never been taught this before, and the only way to understand is, this was very interesting for me to put it out to you, okay? All right. When Christ forbade the people to declare him king, he knew that a turning point in history was reached. There's a turning point in the nation of Israel. When the nation of Israel wanted to crown him king, and he says, no, you can't crown me king. It was their turning point for Israel. That's a turning point for Israel, okay? Christ's discourse in the synagogue concerning the bread of life was the turning point in the history of Judas, right? Judas wanted to say, okay, you know what? Just turn every stone into bread so we can feed our army and we're going to conquer the world. And Christ says, no, that's not me. That's not my mission, right? Right? And that is the turning point for Judas. It's a turning point for the bad for Judas. And that's his turning point. Okay? So there's turning points for nations. There's turning points for people, disciples. All right? All right, we know this story in Joseph. When he was taken as a slave by the traders, that one day was his turning point. Right? He used to be a pampered, favored boy of his father. Now he's a slave. Wow, what a big turning point. Yeah. But also, Ellen White said that his experience in the dungeon was a turning point for him too. What happened? When he actually was able to decipher the dreams, right? Yeah. That was his turning point. All right. Joseph. When he became a slave, he used to be a pampered boy of his father. He was the favorite son. And now he's a slave. That was a turning point for him. But also when he was able to decipher the dream, right? The dream of the 7 years of famine and the 7 years of plenty. It's because of the east wind. The east wind blasted, right? All right. What about Peter? Did he have a turning point? Yeah. The look of Christ broke his heart. Peter had come to a turning point, and bitterly did he repent of his sin. Peter had a turning point for the good, right? Judas had a turning point for the bad. Yeah. So there's turning points. Okay? All right. This is fun. All right. So we know the waymarks here, right? Our waymarks: 1989, 9/11, Midnight Cry, National Sunday Law. These turning points, these are all turning points, right? That's the work of, that's one angel right there, right? That's the turning point for the glorious land, which is America. Right, where's my cursor? Okay, let me find my cursor. Okay. This is the cherubim right there in the middle. His work is as if he's in the middle of a wheel, right?
Wow.
Right?
There in
Yeah.
Ezekiel.
Right. His work, his appearance is like his work is right in the middle of a wheel, right? And that's the turning point, right? Because this is the turning point for United States, right? And here is the turning point for the Levites at the midnight cry, right? And this is the turning point at 9/11 is the turning point for the priests. That's when the priests are called. This is when the midnight cry is when the Levites are called, right?
4 wheels.
Yeah. And this is the turning point for the Gentiles. That's their turning point, right? And it's a complicated movement because everything turns.
Cool.
Good job.
Well, see, when you see that, then you understand it's a line upon line, right? It's all the workings of all that. It's a wheel. Is the wheel within a wheel. See, this is like the wheel within a wheel, and all are turning all at the same time. These are all the turning points. This is a turning point. This is a turning point for the priest, turning point for the Levites, turning point for the Gentiles.
Wow. Imagine God used the wheel to illustrate that, and it's just to the point.
It's to the point. Do you see that now?
Yep, it has to be done at where the axle is. Because
It's the axle.
Turning point.
That's the turning point.
that's where, wow.
I wonder why God put this wheel within the wheels.
It's going to make you humble. You don't understand it, and when you understand it, oh wow.
But they're all turning in their timeline.
Yeah.
The timeline.
Right.
Yes.
Hmm.
In one line.
Hmm.
The line is our line.
Yeah. Right. It's all complicated, but when you see it, you're gonna be humbled, and because you realize that you are part of that, and your job is to explain this to the house of Israel. Wow. Okay. And it's green too, it's bro. I had fun doing this. All right. Okay. Now Isaiah 6. We go back to Isaiah 6. All right. The 6th chapter of Isaiah has a deep and important lesson for every one of God's workmen. Study it with humility and earnest prayer. The 1st and 2nd chapter of Ezekiel. See, the 6th chapter of Isaiah is connected exactly with Ezekiel. The wheel upon the wheel within a wheel, that thing is the same thing as the live coal. All right? Your understanding of that, you're being to understand is your purification. When you're being to understand all this, you will understand Child's own vision. All right? That's your purification. All right? The 1st and the 2nd chapter of Ezekiel should also go also be carefully studied. The wheels within wheels. Now you understand what it is, right? All right. Represent this symbol was confusion to the finite eye, but the hand of infinite wisdom was revealed amid the wheels. Perfect order is brought out of this confusion. Every wheel works in its right place. Perfect harmony with every other part of the machinery. So the wheels within the wheels is the same thing as this understanding when you are given the live coal. All right? Okay. All right. Oh, you know what? Before I got to go back to this. It's very important. Because when you study Isaiah chapter 6, all right, he sees the seraphims with 6 wings, crying, holy, 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 in verse 3. And then Isaiah actually sees God in verse 5, right? And he says, he's touched with the live coal, and he says, who will go? And he says, send me, in verse 8. And it's, go tell this people who understand and perceive not. Go to who? Laodicea. Yeah? Who understand and perceive not. They don't understand and they don't perceive. They're blind. Right? And then what is in verse 11 he says, but for how long? How long do I have to, he says, you know what, I have to give this to spiritual Israel? How long do I have to do that? The consequence, yeah, that's the problem. And then continue verse 12 and 13, until the desolation. Yeah. You're gonna give this message until the Sunday law. Because it's the until Sunday law. That's it.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, now you understand what it means. Isaiah 6 means, how long are you gonna give it? You're gonna give it to the house of Israel until their probation closes, until the desolation. Right?
But then our time, Jackie, it's not long.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you see,
See, when you understand this, you're going to be humble to the dust, because the responsibility is very big.
It's hard.
It's very difficult. It's going to be very difficult.
Fast because time flies so fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, this is the reaction that you're going to have. When you understand it completely, you're going to go, wow, it's a complicated thing. It's like a wheel within my work is like a wheel within a wheel. Whoa. All right?
to a human eyes, it's a confusion. It's just real confusion.
Then after that, you go to the Gentiles, right? Right. Okay. All right. It's, okay. As they, which is the angels. I had to insert the angels, okay, because I had to cut this off. I didn't want to put the whole quote here. As the angels see the future when the whole earth shall be filled with his glory, right? This is Isaiah 6. Oh, 9/11, there you go. That's 9/11, right? The whole earth will be filled with his glory is Revelation 18. That's 9/11. That's the first day of the first month, right? The angels see the future. They're going to see 9/11. The triumphant song of the praise is echoed from one to another in melodious chant. Holy, holy, holy. They are fully satisfied in his presence. Beneath his smile of approbation, they wish for nothing more. In bearing his image, in doing his service and worshiping him, their highest ambition is fully reached. So the angels is going to see 9/11. Oh boy. This, something big is going to happen now. Isaiah had a wonderful view of God's glory. He saw the manifestation of God's power. And after beholding his majesty, a message came to him to go and do a certain work and go to the house of Israel. But he saw God's glory. He saw the manifestation of God's power, right? Right. He saw God. He saw the glory. He saw the character. Right. That is when he actually had the Mara, right? Okay. The angel who unites in the proclamation of the third angel's message is to lighten the whole earth with his glory. This is what? The Revelation 18, 1-3. This is the fourth angel. This is 9/11, all right? This is the fourth angel. A word of worldwide extent and unwanted power is here foretold. Wow. This is our time. The Advent movement of 1840 to 1844 was a glorious manifestation of the power of God. So Isaiah was actually seeing the glorious manifestation of the power of God, which is the movement of 1840 to 1844. Isaiah was looking at the line of 1840 to 1844. This work will be similar to the day of Pentecost, which is the day of Pentecost. See, the day of Pentecost is still future, meaning that's the Sunday law, right? So, okay, we got to see this now. All right. This is what Isaiah was seeing. The glorious manifestation of power of God is between this and here, right? 1840 to 1844, right? 4 years. That's the 4 years, okay? Where does this line up? What happened on August 11, 1840? Islam was restrained, right? Islam is restrained. October 22, 1844, this is the closed door, right? Right here. So this is what? This is 9/11 to the Sunday law. This lines up with 9/11 to the Sunday law. This is our time. We're living right here. Right here. So we are living in the glorious manifestation of power of God. Power of God being manifested right here in this time period, right here. For the purification of the priests and the Levites, right? Right there. This is the timeline specifically, right? Boy, if that... Yeah, but this is exactly where it lines up, right? So the glorious manifestation of God is this time period. But this work is similar to this work. So this is the glorious manifestation of the power of God, right here. Right? Okay. First is the Millerites, and below is the 144,000, right? Oh, death decree. Right. That's Esther's death decree.
Power of God, including also when Islam attacked.
Yeah, and Islam is restrained also, right? Because then, yeah, that's God's power, right?
So even the second time Islam attacks is another God's power.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. So, the vision given to Isaiah represents the condition of God's people in the last days, right? The dream to Isaiah, the vision, Isaiah 6, is the condition of God's people in the last days. He just said that, the glorious manifestation of power of God before the day of Pentecost. They are privileged to see by faith the work that is going on forward in the heavenly sanctuary. So when you see the glorious manifestation of the power of God, you are actually looking into where? The most holy place. All right. And the temple of God was open in heaven, and there was seen in his temple the ark of his testament. So when you see the glory of God, you are actually looking into the most holy place. Right? As they look by faith into the Holy of Holies and see the work of Christ in the heavenly sanctuary, they perceive that they are a people of unclean lips. See? When you see that, then you realize, oh, I am nothing. I'm dead. I have no power. I fall to the ground. Right? You have to be humbled. You are humbled if you have the right attitude and the right, when you've been purified. A people whose lips have often spoken vanity and whose talents have not been sanctified and employed to the glory of God. Well may they despair as they contrast their own weakness and unworthiness with the purity and loveliness of the glorious character of Christ. They look at the glory of God and they say, oh, I'm nothing. But this is big if they, like Isaiah, will receive the impression the Lord designs shall be made upon the heart. If they will humble their souls before God, there is hope for them. The bow of promise is above the throne, and the work done for Isaiah will be performed in them. God will respond to the petitions coming from the contrite heart. Wow. So by faith, you are going to look into the most holy place. And that is where you are going to see the glory of God. But when you see that, you will see how low you are. You are the dust of this universe. You are nothing. And you're going to be humbled to the dust, right? Okay. But we are actually going to see, we are going to have, I made another animation of looking into the most holy place. That's very interesting. But to go there, we have to have some other things set up for us, okay? Then said the king, Esther 5. Then said the king unto her, what wilt thou, Queen Esther? And what is thy request? Okay, what is this? An inquiry. And it shall even be given to thee half of the kingdom. Hey, wait a minute. Who's given half of the kingdom? Who's being, right? Who was offered half of the kingdom? Salome, right? This is an inquiry. And Esther answered, if it seem good unto the king, let the king and Haman come to this day unto the banquet. Oh, okay. So this is the 15th day. And there's an inquiry made, because that's the midnight cry. Oh, this after the midnight cry. But anyway, at that time, it's going to be the time when she asks for a feast. Okay? Then the king said, cause Haman to make haste. Oh, Haman, hurry up, that we may do as Esther has said. So the king and Haman came to the banquet that Esther had prepared. This is on the 15th day, right? Remember, there's going to be an inquiry here, and there's going to be an offer for half of the kingdom, okay? Remember this story? This is basically Herod's, and that's Salome dancing. Salome dancing in front of Herod, all right? Half of the kingdom I will give to you, all right? What do you want? Well, actually, my mom wanted the head of John the Baptist. All right. Okay. What about the inquiry? Mary's inquiry. What was Mary's inquiry in Luke 1:34? How could I be pregnant when I'm a virgin? That's her inquiry, right? What about Gabriel's inquiry in Daniel 10, verse 19 and 20? Don't you know that I returned to fight the prince of Persia, and then later prince of Grecia will come? That's the inquiry, right? What about the foolish virgin's inquiry? What's their inquiry? What are they inquiring for? Hey, where's the oil, you know? Do you have any oil? Right? Okay. What about the triumphal entry? At the triumphal entry, what was the inquiry? Remember, all of this is at the midnight cry. All of these events line up at the midnight cry, right? What's the inquiry at the midnight cry? There were men standing around and asking the disciples, right? The disciples, hey, go find a foal or an ass that I can ride. And what do the men say? Why are you loosening the ass? An ass is loosened at the midnight cry. Wow. Why are you loosening the ass? People are going to ask, why is Islam being, right? Or it's going to be still restrained, because Jesus is going to ride it, right? So when you ride the ass, what's going to happen? It's restrained, but it's loosened first. Right. But people are going to ask, why are you loose? Why is the ass being loosened? Right? There's going to be an inquiry at the midnight cry. Very, very prophetically significant, right? Elijah's inquiry. What's Elijah's inquiry? Maybe your gods are talking or sleeping or in a journey or sleeping, you know. Yeah? All at the midnight cry. All right. So the 11th hour workers are now inquiring, what are the issues are being agitated? How come Islam just attacked and you already predicted it? You know? Wow. Okay. Now this is the 15th day. All right. What is the significance of the 15th day? We are still on the 15th day. What is the significance of the 15th day? Leviticus 23, verse 6. On the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread. Right? The feast of unleavened bread is on the 15th day. Right? What do they eat? Matzah bread, bitter herbs, and it's eaten on a day that they call, and they have a feast called Seder. Did you go to Seder when they had it here? That's the feast of unleavened bread. Did you go?
Yeah, I did.
You went there? Yeah. Did you understand what it was talking about? Now you should understand because it's a feast of unleavened.
The pastor understood that he was good.
Yeah, no. It's the feast of unleavened bread when you eat matzah bread, bitter herbs, and eat at the Seder, right? That's the feast of unleavened bread. That's the day after Passover. Passover and then feast of unleavened bread, right? You have to eat the bitter herbs. Why? You have to remember of your persecution in Egypt. And then you have to eat matzah bread without unleavened. Why? No. Because you don't have time for it to rise up. Yeah. You have to do so quick. You have to get out so quick, right? Right. Yeah. Okay, that's the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Okay. All right. Esther 5, verse 6 to 8. And the king said, now this is at that night when he went with Haman to the feast, he asked again the same thing. What is thy petition? What is thy request? Even half of the kingdom. So there's a doubling of the inquiry on the 15th day, right? And then what was...
Double banquet again.
Right. And Esther says, we want to invite you for a banquet tomorrow, right? Tomorrow is on the 16th day, right? Because this is the 15th day. So on the 15th, there's a doubling, right? On the 16th, there's the second banquet, all right? All right. See, there's a doubling of the inquiry. I put this here because there's the inquiry, right? Yeah. Where's the oil? Where's the oil? That's the inquiry, right? Give us some oil. Okay, now this is where it becomes complicated a little bit. Okay, now, from the midnight cry, or from midnight, here's midnight. From midnight to midnight cry is 4 years, right? That's like 1449 until 1453. That's the 4 years that the four sultans were attacking Constantinople. And finally, on the 4th year, which is 1453, the wall of Constantinople fell. That typifies the wall of marriage that falls. All right? This is also the binding time for the priests, right? This is the binding time of the priest, all right? This is the 4 years. So there's a 4 right there, okay? The four years, 1449 till 1453, and the four sultans that fought right here, there's a 4. Okay.
3 again.
The 3 is Daniel being touched 3 times, right? That's the 3. Okay. So, and then from the 13th through the 16th is 4 days, which is the binding time for the Levites, right? But remember, this is actually a fractal of this time period between here and here. This is a fractal of this whole period right here. So we make it a fractal right here, okay? The bottom is the fractal, okay? So we kind of use a magnifying glass and look at the whole thing now. So this is the 13th day, 14th, 15th, and 16th, right? So this 16th is actually here, all right? Because this here is a fractal of this time period here, which is, we put it here, okay? You just have, and we'll go into this why that is. Specifically, I'm going to just tell you right away, because this 16th day is what? The wave sheaf, right? The waving of the wave sheaf, right? And that's what? That's Sunday law. So Sunday law doesn't happen here. Sunday law is here. So the 16th is actually here, right? Because this is the Sunday law, right? So this is why this is a fractal, right? Okay. All right. The generation of the priests is from 9/11 until the Sunday law, right? How old are they when they can become a priest? 30 years old, right? Jesus was 30 years old when he was baptized, right here, 9/11. Who else was 30? Joseph, when he predicted the 7-year famine, how old was he? He was 30, right? Right? 30 right here. And they can be priests for until they're 50 years old. 50 is the Pentecost, when the outpouring of the Holy Spirit is unmeasured, right? Pentecost is the outpouring unmeasured. That's the Sunday law, right? So the priest's job is to go to tell the house of Israel all the way until the Sunday law, right? From the 30th. This is the time of the priest, right? The generation of the Levites start here at the midnight cry, because here they're 25 years old and they go until they're 50 years old, right? Until the Sunday law, all right? Daniel is touched 3 times right here, right? Esther is touched on the 3rd day, which is this, wait a minute, 13, 14. Esther is touched on the 3rd day, right? So there's a 3, okay? There's a 4 also here. So let's see. I have to make sure. And both the binding times is the time when the 3rd angel met. See, the job of the 3rd angel is to bind and seal, right? When does the 3rd angel come? This is the 1st angel and the 2nd, right? This is the 2nd and the 3rd. The 3rd angel comes right here to bind and seal. Started right here. And what happens? The 3rd angel comes down right here too, right? So this 3rd angel here, this is why there's a 3 also. Multiple reasons why there's a 3. There's also a 4, okay? All right, now we go to, all right, there's a fast, the royal apparel, and Esther goes before the king. There's in a court and touches the golden scepter, all right? Right at the 15th day, right? 15th day, right here, right? And the king inquires, and he says, gives half a kingdom, and then invite to the first feast. So the first feast, it's on the 15th day. And then the king inquires again and get half of the kingdom, right? And there's an invitation for the 16th, right? So there's a doubling of the king's inquiry and half kingdom offer. There's a doubling because that's at the midnight cry. This is so long that I had to put it in 2 places here. You know, this, right? This is at the midnight cry. Okay. All right. This is the Passover, right? 9/11, the 14th day of the first month is Passover, right? The 14th, remember? For the feasts. The Passover is always the 14th day of the first month, right? Yeah, right here. The Passover lines up with 9/11, right? This is, you have to see this multiple times and then finally sink in. But these are, basically we're going to put the feasts now here. So this is the Seder, which is the Feast of Unleavened Bread, is the 15th day, right? The 15th day right here, right? And this is wave sheaf and power outpouring of the Holy Spirit. This is the Sunday law right here. So the feasts have also. This is why people believe the feasts, but you can't predict the feast. How are you going to predict these things that are going to happen based on the moon and the stars alignment? No, you can't do that. But the understanding of the feast is also important here. Okay. So 4 is a symbol of the binding time. The 3 and the 4 is also a symbol of the binding time. What is a 3 and a 4? Do you remember in the Bible there's a 3 and a 4? There's always a 3 and a 4. Okay, we'll go through it pretty quick. The third and the fourth generation. I am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the what? The third and the fourth, the 3 and the 4, okay, is important. The third and the fourth generation. Keeping mercy for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgression and sin, that will by no means clear the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, upon the children's children, unto the what? The third and the fourth generation. It's like the third and the fourth church is together. Pergamos and Thyatira, right? Pergamos has to what? Has to compromise. Has to have a falling away first before the man of sin is revealed, before Thyatira is revealed. There's no Thyatira before there's a Pergamos. Pergamos has to fall away first before the church of Constantine has to compromise first before the papacy is revealed, right? Thyatira is the papacy, right? They're persecuting for 1260 years, right? Okay, third and fourth. Okay. Amos. All right, here we go. We're not going to read the whole thing. Unto the third and fourth transgression of Damascus, third and fourth transgression of Gaza, third and fourth transgression of Tyrus, third and fourth transgression of Edom, third and fourth transgression of Ammon, right? This is the judgment of the last generation. The third and the fourth is talking about the last generation, right? We'll see exactly why. Because the third and the fourth transgression, which is weeping for Tammuz, will lead to bowing to the sun. If you receive the false latter rain, you will bow down to the sun. This is why the third and the fourth is joined together, right? The 3 and the 4, all right? Okay, we will see it right here. Oh, let me go through here first. This is the fourth angel, right? The first and the second is the fourth angel, right? Revelation 18, 1 to 3. The fourth angel's message is the first and the second combined, right? At the midnight cry, there is the second and the third angel, right? And at the Sunday law, the third angel is repeated, empowered, all right? Okay. All right. All right, let's see what else. What else can I show here? Okay. The Passover, unleavened bread, and the wave sheaf. We've done this already. The 14th day, right here. The 15th day and the 16th. Remember, this is a fractal of these days right here. I mean, this is a fractal right there, right? That's the Passover, Feast of Unleavened Bread, and the wave sheaf, right? This is the time of the Levites. I put it in yellow because this is the time of the Levites. Passover, unleavened bread, and they are being prepared right here. So the Levites are already being prepared, but their binding time is going to be here. The thing about it is the difference between them and the priest is that their binding time goes for a lot longer. Right. Yeah, they're going on for a lot longer. The reason being is they're entering into a church triumphant already. They're joining the priests, remember? They're not joining as a group of tares and wheat. No. They're joining as wheat. That's where the first one joins, a second one joins, a third one joins. They keep joining until the last one joins right here, right? But they're joining a perfect church already, the church triumphant. So the time of the priest is right here, this whole period of time here, okay? But the time of the time of the Levites is this, right? By the time of the priests, they're called right here, but they're bound sooner, right? And they make up the church triumphant starting here, because the men that fall away and hide, Judas falling away, right? They fall away right at this point. When are the tares bound? They're bound right here. The tares are taken away. The priests become the church triumphant, and then the Levites join right here. So you see that? Okay? This will, we have to do it over and over again until it kind of sinks in. All right? It sinks in. All right? Because this is the understanding of the church militant and the church triumphant. This is how the Levites join. It's different than how the priests are chosen. Okay? All right. So this is the 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th, right? This is a 4. And this is also a 4, right? 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th, because this 16th lines up right here. This is the time for the Levites. This is the binding time for the priests right here. Binding time for the Levites, right? Okay? So this is 1449 until 1453, okay? This is from 1840 to 1844. That's a 4. This is also a 4. So there's a 4 on one side of the midnight cry, and there's also a 4 on the other side of the midnight cry. Okay, you say, why is this important, Okay. Oh, remember there's going to be a wall right here? This is the wall of Constantine. No, Constantinople. The wall of Constantinople fall here, right? And that typifies the wall of marriage, right? And there's going to be another wall. Now, which wall falls here? The wall of Sabbath. It's typified the wall of Jericho. The wall of Jericho falls here, right? Because the wall of Jericho is at the loud cry. The loud cry is at the Sunday law. So there's 2 walls that fall. This is the wall of Balaam also, right? This is the first wall that he is crushed. His foot is crushed, right? All right. Okay. Oh, I got. See the tares and the wheat, they grow together until the harvest. When is the harvest? Oh, the harvest starts when the binding. So no, actually at midnight, right? When the priests are bound here, right? The priests are harvested right here, and then the Levites are harvested right here, right? So the wheat and tares grow together until the harvest of the first fruits, starting right here, right? And then it goes unto here. This is and what happens to them? Okay, all right. This is when the outpouring of the Holy Spirit, right? Outpouring of the Holy Spirit, 9/11. This is when the judgment of the living, right? Judgment of the living starts at 9/11, right? Right. And the tares are bound and taken away, right? So that only the wheat are left, right?
So is there going to be
And then there's going to be
tares also for the Levites?
no. There's no. They cannot join with tares. There's already church triumphant, right? Right. So there's this. The temple of house of Israel is going to fall right here, right? And this is what is this called? The last generation, right? This is the last generation. The last generation is between 9/11 and the Sunday law. This is the glorious manifestation of the power of God. And when you look into the most holy place, this is what you'll see. All right, the last generation right here. This is the one generation right here, and it's bounded by the 4 and the 4, the around the midnight cry, which is the binding time. Okay. And that's when the first fruits are lifted up as wave sheaf as an ensign at the Sunday law. All right? Yeah. Wow. Very complicated, but when you see this, we got do it over and over again, you'll see this more clearly, right? Okay, before we actually go by faith into the Most Holy, we have to understand what is in the Most Holy. We did this already, remember? Revelation 11. Yeah, all right. I know. I have one more slide after this. What is in the Most Holy? Well, obviously the thing that we know for sure is the Ark of the Covenant, right? And remember, the Ark of the Covenant, on two sides are the two sides are the two squares, right? Because they're 1.5 by 1.5 cubits, right? The two sides are squares, and there's 4 rectangles, which is the top, the bottom, and the two sides, right? There's 4 rectangles, right? And what are their measurements? 1.5 by 2.5, all right? And there's 4 of them, all right? So when you look at the mercy seat is the top part, where these 2 cherubims are kneeling. The mercy seat, what is the perimeter of the mercy seat? What is the perimeter of the mercy seat? It's 1.5 plus 2.5, which is 4. So it's a 4 plus a 4. It's 8, right? So there's the perimeter of the mercy seat is 4 and 4, which is 8, right?
3 by 5 plus 8.
Okay. All right.
3 by 5 plus 8.
Right. Yeah, it's 8. It's 8, right? Yeah. It's because it's 1.5, 2.5, 1.5, 2.5, right? So, all right. What is the perimeter of all the surfaces? The perimeter of all these,
square.
it's actually 44 cubits. Oh yeah, we did this, sir. It's 44. The what is 4 and 4. Okay, there's so many 4s in there. Right. And the other thing is that when you look into the most holy place, what blocks your view? There's a veil. And the veil hangs on what? It hangs on 4 posts. It hangs on 4 posts. So there's a 4 post. The mercy seat is 4 and 4, the perimeter. And all the perimeters are 44. Okay? 4 is very important in the most holy place. All right? and these are this is like a tabernacle board. When you connect all these boards, they're as if they're a tabernacle board. All these 4 boards connect to. There's 48 of them, and this makes the 49th. And 49 is also significant, you know. Yeah, it's 7 times 7, right? 7 times 7 is very significant. All right. Anyway, okay. So what does that mean? Now we are going to look into the most holy place now. Remember, there's yes, because when you go and look at Leviticus, it says that I have 3 different colors: red, purple, and blue, and they have cherubims also on it, golden cherubims. I didn't put the golden cherubims because I didn't want to mess this up. This looks kind of nice already. All right. So when you open, now there's 4 pillars. 1, 2, 3, 4. I didn't show it because it's going to block the view. All right. What do you see in there? You're going to see the glorious manifestation of the power of God, which is 1840 to 1844. All right. And that is the same as the time before the Pentecost, which means it's our time. 1840 lines up with our time. 9/11, midnight cry, midnight cry, and Sunday law, right? So when you're going to go into the most holy place, this is what you're going to see. These two lines, which signifies the glorious manifestation of God's power. What do you see in there? The Ark of the Covenant, all right? And the Ark of the Covenant, there's the perimeter is 4 and a 4, and the perimeters of all these are 44, all right? Okay. And what else do you see? You see 2 cherubims here, but in Solomon's Ark, how many cherubims are in the most holy place? You have to look at 2 Chronicles 3, verse 10 to 13. There's actually 2 big cherubims, and they are 10 cubits from wing to wing, right? Very, very tall. And there's 2 of them, one on one side and one on the other side, and they're looking at this, right? There's 2 cherubims, and their wings touch. Their wings touch up there, right? And they are 20 cubits in width, and they touch from one wall to the other wall. So Solomon's temple is not like the temple of the tabernacle in the wilderness, because in the wilderness it's only 10 cubits. But Solomon's temple is actually 20 cubits, because that's the width of the wingspan of these 2 cherubims, right? But there's 4 cherubims. There's 4 angels. This is the 4th angel. This is the 2nd angel. This is the 3rd angel. And this is the 3rd angel. Do you see that? This is the 4th angel. At 9/11, which angel came down? The 4th angel. The first angel is the first and second is the 4th angel, right there. That's the first and the 2nd angel, which is the 4th angel, right? At the midnight cry, at midnight cry, at the midnight cry, the 2nd and the 3rd angel comes down, right? Because the midnight and the midnight cry, that's a point in time and a time period, right? At this time, there's 2 angels that come down, right? The 2nd and the 3rd. And at the Sunday law, the 3rd angel is empowered. The 3rd angel. That's why you see 4 cherubim. That's why there's 4 cherubims in there, right? Okay, let's see, what else do you see? What else is inside the most holy place? The 10 commandments. All right. These 10 commandments, there's 4 commandments here, and there's another 6 on this side. This is the law that governs your relationship with God, as symbolized by the Sabbath, right? Right. It's symbolized by the Sabbath, right? That's your relationship to God. And this other 6 is symbolize your relationship with man, right? And that's symbolized by the marriage, right? Symbolized marriage. These are the 2 institutions that come out of Eden, right? This is the wall at the midnight cry of the wall of marriage and the wall of the Sabbath that are broken. You see it right in the, that's the 2 tables. And these represents the law, right? These are one of the 2 witnesses, because this symbolizes Moses. Moses is the law. And the other thing is that this symbolizes Elijah. Remember, the law of Moses actually is hid inside the most holy place, right? The book of Deuteronomy, right? That they found during the time of Josiah, right? This represents Elijah, right? These are the 2 witnesses, right? Moses and Elijah, remember? These are the 2 witnesses, right? Revelation 10, the 2 witnesses. The two witnesses that with the whole that has the golden oil that comes down in Zechariah, right? The two witnesses is the Old Testament and the New Testament. This typifies the Old Testament and the New Testament. It typifies Moses and Elijah, right? All right, okay. Okay, let's see. Yeah, what else do you see? The rod of Aaron.
The rod of Aaron, yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Before we go forth, because Moses received the Mara vision, right? Obviously, he received the Mara vision. Because the only way that when he was encountered by his two siblings and they wanted to also be the mouthpiece of God, God says, only those who have received the Mara vision can be my prophet, right? Right. So that's what, this is typified by Moses. All right. Okay. And Samuel also, when he was 12 years old, he received the gift of prophecy, right? He received the Mara vision and he received the gift of prophecy when he was only 12 years old, because he was able to tell Eli that your house is going to be lost, right? Okay. All right, what else? The rod of Aaron. Okay. What about Aaron's rod? What does it symbolize? It symbolizes the priesthood, right? Remember the story of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram? Right? Remember when they wanted to challenge Moses and Aaron? And then they challenged Aaron and they said, oh, gather your priests, all your leaders, and all of you take your rods and write your names on it. And you're gonna hide it in the tabernacle. And tomorrow, whoever's buds is going to be the true priest, right? And who's one bud? Aaron's bud. And that is put inside there. Right? So the priesthood, just like Samuel, he became the priest, right? After he received the Mara vision. All right. And what else do you see in the most holy place? There's one more thing. Right. The golden bowl of manna. What is the golden bowl of manna? What does that symbolize? Yeah. But in connection with the Mara vision, remember Jacob received the Mara vision in Genesis 46. He sees that his prophecy shows that his descendants are going to be gathered. The two sticks, his 10 sons are going to be gathered with his 2 grandchildren from in Egypt, right? The sticks are going to join together. And they are now going to be able to eat the manna or the corn that Joseph had prepared for them, right? During the time of plenty. He had reserved these, and they can now enjoy it because now they're going to be prosper now, right? Okay, this is symbolized by the manna right here, right? The bread of life, right? Okay. That's also when Jacob realizes that the 2 sticks are going to join together, right? What are the 2 sticks that are joined together? What's the usefulness of those 2 sticks? This is quite surprising to me. I did not realize this.
Oh,
Okay.
What's the use of those 2 sticks?
carry the
To lift up the ark.
They're not supposed to touch.
Yeah. Who lifts up the ark? The priests and the Levites, right?
yeah.
That makes sense.
Makes sense.
Right?
Yes.
To show to the world and conquer Jericho at the Sunday law when they are lifted up as and this is the crown. The crown that has diamonds is the ensign that is being lifted up with the two sticks as the priests and the Levites lifted up. Do you see that?
All the symbolism.
The symbols are so deep.
It's a diamond.
Right.
It's so amazing.
And
All
it's a
right.
diamond, right?
Huh?
So that diamond is the jewels.
Yeah, the jewels, right? Yeah.
So
Not the jewels in the Philippines, no.
Precious jewels.
But the cover is pure gold.
Gold trying
Yeah.
Pure gold.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So you see this all right there. And remember, this is the last generation. This is the 3 and the 4. You see all of that in the most holy place. And the only way you can see it is you study line upon line. Line upon line shows you everything that's going on in the most holy place. And when you see this, you will see the wheels within the wheels, all the complicated workings that has to do with what your job is to be done. You have to lift up this ensign. You're going to have to lift up this ensign, right? And bring it to first the house of God and the house of Israel, and then to the world, right? Okay. Now, one more other thing. You think this is finished? It's not finished yet. One more thing. When Moses came down with
The 2 tables.
the 2 tables,
It was broken.
yeah, and he had to break it because they had an image.
BC.
Yeah, they had a golden calf apostasy, right? At that time, and he had to break it because they were making an image to the, yeah, right, the image of jealousy. They were making an image of jealousy, right? So he had to break it. But then he went up and saw God again. And then what did he ask? It's in Exodus 33. He says, I beseech thee, show me thy glory. Remember? Remember this story?
Yeah. You're
I
right.
beseech you, show me the glory. He wants to, I want to see your glory. Do you want to see the glory? You look into the most holy place. I want to see the glory. Look into the holy place. And what did God say? And he said, I will make my goodness pass before thee. I will proclaim the name of the Lord before thee. I will be gracious. I will show you my character. I will be gracious and I will show mercy upon you. Right? So what did God say? Moses said, I want to see your glory. And God says, I'm going to show you my character. Because that is my glory. Right? That is the 10 Commandments. His glory is his character, is his law. Right? Okay. Exodus 33. And he says, thou canst not see my face, for there shall no man see me and live. You can't see my face. I seek your face. He said, you can't see my face, because no man can see me and live. And the Lord said, behold, there is a place by me, and thou shalt stand upon a rock, and thou shalt come to pass while my glory passeth by, that I will put thee in a cliff of a rock and will cover thee with my hand. I'm going to hide you so that when I lift my hand off of you, you can see what? You can see the back parts, but my face will not be seen. Why is it that you can't see the face of Jesus? Because he is ministering in the most holy place. That's why you can only see his back parts. Right? So what does this mean? Wow. When I studied this from the School of Prophets, I was completely blown away. I mean, I couldn't believe this. Do you know how many people actually understand this now? Do you know that you are probably the 99.999 percentile of people in this world that actually knows this? This understanding is really for the privileged few who want to understand and study. This is amazing. It should humble you to the dust because of the responsibility of knowing all of this and to bring this to the house of Israel. This is amazing. You know, when Joseph and Moses and Daniel had to be educated in the universities of Babylon and Egypt, all of that meant nothing to them if they cannot see the glory of God in the most holy place, right? Right. Yeah. So that is how our attitude be. When we study line upon line, and when we study and see the glory of God in the most holy place, our attitude, are we going to actually try to rationalize it and try to actually argue against it? Or are you going to be humbled and realize your responsibility of what you have to do, right? Because you are the privileged few that actually understand this in the binding time that's going to come up. Because you are going to be bound and you are going to be selected to actually lift up. You're going to be this stick. You're going to be lifting up this stick to lift up this ark, to lift up the ensign, which is, the ensign is this, the mercy seat. The mercy seat, that's the ensign. Yeah, in Zechariah, it says the crown with diamonds is the ensign. This is the crown, right? That's the ensign. You are going to lift this up and show to the world. So your responsibility when you study line upon line and see the glory of God in the most holy place by seeing the experience of the 144,000 between 9/11 to the Sunday law, is that you are going to be humbled, right? And you're going to fall to the dust because humility and perfection is inseparable, right? So that is more assured word of prophecy for us, okay? All right, let me just, next week, probably we may be able to finish Esther. All right? It takes a long time. All right.